Hey everyone, I am going to walk through how to clone the Streamlit repo for the Tuva project and run our outlier analysis Streamlit app. So I'll be walking through that in this video. To start with, I'm just going to open a new VS Code window and clone the repository, which is on GitHub under Streamlit for the Tuva project. And so copy the link there on the repo. Okay, and then you see all the folders here. And the place to start is this readme.markdown file, which gives a bunch of detail on the folder structure and how to contribute and things like that. But I'm going to start with the setup and installation guide. One important concept here is you want to have a Python version that is less than 3.13. I personally had a number of issues related to that. So you want to make sure that you're using that version as you go through the rest of these steps. So I'm using 3.11, I think. 3.12 should be fine, but 3.13 doesn't support some of the requirements for the project. So I'm going to go ahead and open a terminal to make sure I have all the requirements satisfied. And you want to start out by being in the root folder, which I am. So Streamlit, I'm in the root folder for this repository. And then I'm going to, I've already cloned the repo. I'm already in the root. So I'm now on step 3. And I'm going to set up a virtual environment. So I'll just go Python and now you can see I've created this .venv folder for my virtual environment. I'm going to make sure pip is upgraded. And it is. Then I'm going to go ahead and install the requirements. The requirements here, you can see are Streamlit, obviously, and then the Snowflake Snowpark connector. If you're connecting to Snowflake, we are not today in the outlier analysis, but in our demo. So you can see under Streamlit apps, we have the outlier analysis. This is what I'm running through. In the Tuva template demo, we actually include a way to connect to Snowflake as part of that. And you can see that in docs and in the README for that. These are requirements. Then pandas, Plotly, and Rough are other Python packages that are required. So that's the requirements doc, and I'm just going to go ahead and install those. All set. Okay, just going back to the README. If you do have trouble with that, it's probably an issue where you're somehow still on 3.13, so you'll have to ChatGPT your way through that, or just sort of troubleshoot. I don't have a Windows machine. There's instructions here for you doing this on a Windows machine as well. These are some instructions. If one of the apps that you're using is connecting to Snowflake, you can use this as an example to create your secure Snowflake connections string. So you can follow those instructions for that, but we're not using that today. The outlier analysis just uses CSVs that are actually stored right in this data folder. They're preset. If you're running this against your own data, you can run this outlier queries. There's sort of annotated SQL code that runs right against the Tuva project. You'd run this in whatever warehouse you have, and then create CSV files with these names and just replace these files for your project. So done that, and now all we have to do, we have the data here. We have to, we're now kind of have moved from the top level, the root level folder for Streamlit, and we're going to move into the folder with the analysis that we want. So we're going to go ahead and change directory to Streamlit apps, outlier analysis. Now that we're in that directory, we can just launch our app in a browser by doing Streamlit run app.py. And you can see now our outlier cost driver dashboard has popped up. And I will, uh, we did an interesting talk that walks through this whole analysis, so I'm not going to go through that here, but you can see you've just got a local uh, browser that allows you to look, and this is, I think this is run against CMS synthetic data, so the results will be a little wonky, but you have your cost driver page, which just kind of gives the overview, and then looking at outliers by encounter groups and by diagnosis. So that's the app. It's up and running. And again, you can run the SQL query, replace this with your own data if you want, and then you'll have your report as printed here. One other thing that I will point out is if you want to make changes to the pages or add pages, you just go, this CSV data.py is creating some of the objects that are being used, and then the pages here are sort of defining what each page looks like. So we have our cost drivers page, our outliers by encounter, and our outliers by diagnosis. So that is the quick tutorial, and enjoy. Thank you.